Yeah, I think it's very much what you said. I think it's important. The approach is everything. Um, don't just dive into the ask, but first of all, just common politeness in manners. Hello, I'm definitely a happy Tuesday kind of girl. Happy Tuesday with the colored hearts and stuff. But I think just to kind of jump in and um just be conversational at first, and you can kind of, I think it's a balance of
Hello.
Hi.
How you doing? It's a great Thursday. Hey, you guys, we're going to go see Erica Badu today. Yay.
Oh, yeah. For what? Shami's 40th.
Yes, for Shami's birthday.
And we ain't calling Tyrone either.
There is no Tyrone.
Well, okay. Hi, Elena.
Hi,
how you doing?
I love you.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Oh, she puts on her alarm to listen to us.
Hey, Aunt Kelly.
Hey, Kelly, man.
How are your friends?
Hi.
Aunt Kelly.
Karen? Is that Karen? I'm not sure.
Anita.
Brittany.
Excuse me.
Oh, Anita's here already. Yay, that's good. Got Anita coming, and then I guess her husband's going to do Patrick Bullock. Okay. Hey, y'all.
Charlotte's Web in the house.
Oh, there he is.
There goes Rick.
Shami, what are you saying?
Girl.
hey, fam.
Why not? If you have to.
Do it, guys.
Girl, I got my ghetto braids in today.
No, it's not ghetto. It's black and beautiful.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
What up?
Okay.
Good afternoon.
Well, before we even get started, we want to play a little bit of this wonderful song with B. Slade, and then I'm going to tell you the songs that I like in particular.
Okay.
Witches.
Yes.
Let's make it rain.
Yeah.
Still making rain.
He'll still make a way.
Yes.
Our favorites. But we want everybody to know that today on Carfitable Talks, which you can also find on YouTube under @Vicki, Mack, Lataillade, today we have Miss Anita Wilson and her fabulous husband Rick Robinson to talk about producer, director extraordinaire, and Anita as the artist to talk about the incredible new project Anita has called Soul Sister.
Is Anita stuck?
It looks like Anita has frozen, but I can't tell for sure if she's really frozen or what's happening over there. Are you in the same house?
Well, we're in two different parts of the house. I'm in my office and she's in her office.
Oh, it is.
Well, her office ain't working.
Yeah, her office ain't working. And I have the worst part of the house as far as Wi-Fi. So it's a blessing that I'm even able to talk to y'all right now.
Thank you for my birthday shout out. I really appreciate it.
I hope you had a dope birthday. I hope you had a super dope birthday.
We're still celebrating. Is that Goo Goo?
Yeah.
What's up, Goo?
Marcus?
I hope you had a dope birthday. I saw some of your art too, by the way. Congrats on all the work you're doing with your art.
Yes.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
We're excited because
Top level stuff.
Thank you.
We're going to talk to you today and your lovely wife
Wait for her to come back
about this new project. That's what we're really doing today, is celebrating the new project.
Thank
But
you so much.
until Anita gets back, we want to just talk a little bit about Anita is a Grammy-nominated artist, and of course, you're a Grammy-nominated producer, and you produce for some really incredible people. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that, real quick?
Well, producing is one of my loves. My first love is songwriting, and my production came, but secondary to the writing. But I used to send demos to Donald Lawrence. He told me that my demos needed to step up and sound like records. So that was really, I became a producer by default.
Okay.
And so I'm just grateful to be able to say that I am a Grammy nominated producer, but I've been able to work with a lot of great people in gospel music, whether by way of writing or by way of producing. So
Those
I'm
are.
Anita Wilson.
Anita Wilson.
I was able to get a Grammy nomination for producing Ricky Dillard's amazing album,
Okay.
and produced for many other artists. So I don't want to go down the list when we talking about Soul Sister.
All right. Yeah, we're talking Soul Sisters today. Now, when did Anita?
Yes.
We love you. Your voice is
I love y'all.
unparalleled. That smooth jazz voice it just does something for me.
Thank you.
When did Soul Sister actually release?
October 8th.
October 8th, so a week or so ago. Y'all, you need to go and get this record. But Anita, I gotta tell you, my two favorites, I think, are the ones with the features. That B Slade, it's a church right there. I love that. And that song, You Are Not Alone. I don't know if that's the real title of it. That's what I'm calling it. Is that what it's called?
That's it.
With
You're Not Alone.
Faith Evans.
Yeah.
Girl.
Oh, man.
Voices just fit together. Tell us a little bit about how you got those features. Are there some other features on there? Or are those the two?
Those are two of them, and on Out Here Trusting God, I have two other features: Ruby Green and Marcus Kinsey. You guys know Ruby Green; she's out of LA, but she's the daughter of soul, the daughter of the Reverend Al Green, and of course Marcus Kinsey is doing talk box as well on the song Out Here Trusting God as well. So those are my four features on this album.
Okay. Wow. And so how did you meet Faith? I mean, have you known her for a long time? Your voices together are crazy.
Man, gosh, thank you so much. That means a lot to us as producers, because of course we produced this album remotely. So we wanted to make sure that it all sounded seamless together and all that. But, it's funny because I singing background with Donald Lawrence, we've worked with Faith as background singers, but she did not remember me from that. She knew me from hearing my music, which was a surprise to me. I'm like, okay.
It's it though, because you guys are so simpatico with the vocal.
Wow. Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you. It was amazing because Rick, and I'm going to kick it to him in a second, because he wrote this beautiful song, You're Not Alone. And he had, no pun intended, he had major faith with writing this song, because he wrote it a few years ago, and from the time, or a couple of years ago, and from the time he wrote it, he was saying, I can hear Faith singing this song. I can hear Faith sing this song. And while Rick kind of dreams of these big ideas, and I'm more practical than that. So my mind goes to the how. I'm like, now, how are we gonna do that? I don't know Faith. Faith don't know me. How are we gonna do that? But when we got into the production of it, I was wondering, did I need Donald to connect me or some of our other friends that knew her? But I just kind of jumped out on a limb, much like I did you, Miss Vicki, and just DM'd her on Instagram.
And that was it. That's right. That is how we just kind of, that's funny. Sometimes Instagram, you guys who are wanting to talk to us and people much bigger than myself, for sure, there is a science to the DMing. You can't start asking for things at first. You have to form a relationship. And I mean, people just know how to do it.
Yeah.
Hey, B Slade's in the building.
B Slade,
what up, B?
What's up, bro? What's going on?
What up, brother?
They were just playing Making Waves, bro.
Yes, sir.
But there is a finesse to it, because somebody will start writing this right away and say, I want you to listen to my music. Y'all, I'm not listening to your music. For the most part, you just really don't have the time, and you don't know the person. And
I like how you just kept that real to the point. Like, listen.
you don't know if they're going to come back and sue you when you come out with a song and say
True.
you heard my song first. So
True.
for the most part,
Yeah. No.
but if you form talk to us a little bit about that, forming relationships, like how you did with me and others.
Well, yeah, I think it's very much what you said. I think it's important. The approach is everything. Don't just dive into the ask, but first of all, just common politeness in manners. Hello, I'm definitely a happy Tuesday kind of girl. Happy Tuesday with the colored hearts and stuff. But I think just to kind of jump in and just be conversational at first, and you can I think it's a balance of not diving in, but not doing a whole lot of fluff either, because I also hate those times where people reach out, hey, Anita, hey, how are you? Then I gotta say, I'm fine, how are you? And then okay, I was one, you can tell they're revving up for an ask. Yeah, so I think it's just a good balance of being in tune with who you're reaching out to and their temperament, but just keeping a good balance of your manners and letting them know, I know you don't have a lot of time. I respect you. I love your work. Thanks for all that you do. If you might be interested, is it okay if I send you a song? I just kind of put that to faith like that, when I talk to you, would you consider, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, would you consider, and just kind of get in and get out. Because I think, the approach can be welcoming, or it can be a little off-putting as well. But, relationships are everything.
Yeah, because of those lawsuits and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So you just contacted Faith and she knew who you were right away.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
And nobody, you know what? I was listening to you singing, and it's like, I hear some Rachel Farrell in there back in the day.
Oh,
Wow.
Oh, I do.
That's an iconic voice there.
Yes, it is.
I know she's got a lot of stuff going on now, and we don't get to hear from her as much. But
Yeah.
she might be one of my favorite vocalists of all time.
Mm-hmm. She's amazing.
Back in the day when she was doing her thing, you've got that kind of timbre in your vocal, and
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
I still want to hear you. I think you've gotten a little. I am hearing some of those jazz influences.
For sure. She wants a jazz album.
More jazz.
More jazz, please. She want a whole jazz album, huh?
Because it's just so amazing. And then
maybe a collab that the Robinsons and the Lataillades need to do together. Okay, all right.
You know what? We actually may have something that I might have to talk to you about a little bit later. I have to DM you and your hubby.
Well, you text me now, child. You text me now.
Yeah, you can take.
I love how B Slade on his voice is just so iconic.
Yeah.
And next to yours, I was just kind of like, wait, we were talking about it in the car. We were like, the way B Slade matches that energy with yours, it was a combination I didn't know I needed.
Oh,
First
man.
of all,
Us either.
First of all, B Slade is a legend.
He's like a vocal magician.
Yeah.
He is.
Like, you never know where he's going to be. He's such a genius.
No. And we send him those files and left them open with no directors, because it was like, hey, he's to me B Slade is a genius. I have a few friends that I feel like are genius level talent. Yeah, it's like
yes.
Those type of talents don't come every person. They come once so often, so we have to acknowledge them when they do come to this earth. So I want to acknowledge him as a legend and as a phenomenon of a singer. So when we send it to him, the song is kind of churchy at the end. So B is a preacher by heart. So I assumed that he was going to send it back, kind of preachy and kind of like, just going squalling and all that.
Yeah.
But he came back with a more of a different approach, almost like Michael McDonald and Doobie Brothers, Earth, Wind and Fire type of feel. So I was just really pleased at how he imagined the song. We didn't even know it was going to come back like that.
No.
But you know what? I got to tell you something. as brilliant as B. Slade is singing, have you ever heard that man preach?
I've heard him preach. He might not remember this, but he came and preached to our youth in Chicago, probably about, at this point, 20 years ago. And he preached in Chicago, and I was there when he preached. So I've heard him preach before.
He laid us out at Noel Jones' church once. I can't remember what it was for, but I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. He has it naturally. His father was a pastor, so he had it. He had it naturally.
Amazing church, and he'll give a prophetic word too.
Yeah.
Yes, he will. I mean, he's done that in sessions where we were just kind of at his house and just kind of listening to music. And he'll go there on you before you realize it. I mean, he's a gift.
Shout out to my brother.
He really is. Amen. Well, Rick, tell us your inspiration and what you were going for with Soul Sister.
Well, Anita and I have been working together for years now. On her solo career, we've been working for over 10 years together. So it kind of comes naturally. I kind of have a pretty off the top, pretty much idea what her voice is, the type of music that fits well with her voice. With this particular album, it felt like in a time when we were, I was feeling the times. This was during the pandemic when we started on this album, and it was a lot going on in 2020. You know, we were in the pandemic. We were still dealing with, racial inequality and different things going on in the country. So it was a lot to think about. So Soul Sister is definitely a reflection of Blackness. What we come up listening to. I know. I'm pretty sure y'all seen the documentary already of Summer Soul with and that whole vibe and that whole feel, and we were just really trying to capture that sound of what we come up like. And I listen to a lot of 70s music. I listen to a lot of Earth, Wind, Fire. Huh?
We were there.
You were there.
They were there.
I was in my mama's stomach, I was in my mama's stomach in 78, but like,
we were there physically.
Yeah, there physically, But I mean, but that music still lives on in me. So I still listen to a lot of what makes us feel good musically, and especially with the changes that's been going on in gospel, has been feeling like it's been headed more towards a different sound. It felt like we, owed it to ourselves to be authentic to who we really were musically. Yeah. And that's where the basis of Soul Sister came from. We wanted to keep it funky. Wanted to keep it soulful, wanted to keep it grooving. We wanted to be able to have a message and say something without we didn't want to just be singing, repetitive choruses on a song. Just wanted to have something that would be able to speak to someone's heart. So I just want to say real quick, Anita's not lying. Faith was the very first person that I thought about her singing a song with. Yeah. And I began to arrange the music in a way that is just to make sure that she would say, be able to say yes when she heard it, because I wanted her to feel familiar. So the shout out to producer Chucky Thompson, who is not with us anymore. We lost him recently to COVID-19, but Chucky Thompson is the producer and the mastermind that's behind Faith Evans' first album and behind Mary J. Blige, My Life album. That whole night, there's no Bad Boy era without Chucky Thompson. So he was a huge inspiration behind that song.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I forgot.
To him, yeah. But I mean, you guys were working on this when the pandemic was at its heaviest.
Right.
Yeah. Smack dab in the middle of it.
So did you have to send files to everybody? And I want to shout out to Governor Gibbs. I do see you, brother.
Governor Gibbs.
Yeah.
What's up, Governor Gibbs?
What's up, man?
What's up,
New York.
New York house. So
definitely during the pandemic.
How did you I know actually, but I'm asking you, how did you get with people and put the music together, for those who might not be aware of how that happens during something?
Yeah. For sure. It was kind of similar to how we always do, because we do use some musicians that are out of the, in another state and whatnot. So it was just kind of that on steroids, if you will, but especially with doing like remote sessions. Me and B. Slade had, a 7-hour Zoom session. Yeah, going from, we started. Yes, because it just say again.
Are you guys in St. Louis?
No, we're in Chicago.
Oh, you're in Chicago. Why do I put?
We're in
because she's born and raised in East St. Louis.
East St. Louis, yeah. Yeah, but like, you know, it just, the recording process just takes a while, let alone doing it remotely. So yeah, me and B just kind of, and we enjoy one another, so we were kind of talking through that time too. But of course he did backgrounds on Still Alive, what I call signature backgrounds on Still Alive, and then he did Making Waves as well. So we did some remote sessions like that. I did a similar remote session with Faith Evans, but with our singers, we did our vocals at a studio called Norwal here in Chicago. It's spacious, so everybody kind of had their own space, but we were definitely masked up, you know, outside of singing, and had to keep that safe. But otherwise, with the drummer, Barrow Johnson, Thaddeus Johnson on bass, a couple of bass players, Fitzgerald and Thad and Swole, they recorded at home, you know, so thankfully they had kind of set up their home recording situation, and they were able to record quality vocals. Yep. Quality files, I should say.
How we started back in the day where we had to fly in tapes and stuff.
No, I mean, it was a puzzle. It's a bit of a puzzle piece because we had we had the string arranger who was Phil Lassiter he was in Sweden at the time, but the orchestra was in Nashville. So so Anita and I got on the Zoom call in Chicago while he was in Sweden, and they were in Nashville to record the songs with strings. So it was a bit, it was a bit of a puzzle piece, and not as much of a challenge. I always start our albums off with the demos, and then I send the demos to all the musicians, and they pretty much try to play and fit it in just like it is on the demo. So a lot of the bass work is done at the very beginning before I even send it out to everybody. And it was so cool because Varro has a studio in his basement. All these guys have set up home studios and prepared themselves for the pandemic to be able to continue to make money without having to be on the road. So it was kind of all set up.
Yeah. I just love Anita. I have this thing,
I love you.
Call it, where I see colors when I
I've heard you talk about that.
I start thinking about things. Yeah. And I see Anita in this dark room, you know, old school, with that solo light over her head, pouring down in color in this greenish gown.
Come on. That's her favorite color.
That's my favorite color. Yes. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's that. Okay. I see that with just this light and her singing like old school. And Alina and Sarah Vaughan and Ella. And I just, I love your music so much. I just wanted to go there because you got to do Tiny Desk, girl. You got to get on Desk because
we need that.
Tiny Desk would enjoy you. I don't know. We can all make some phone calls. Anybody out there have some connections, Governor?
Okay, right.
Well, first of all, we have you two sitting there.
Y'all exactly.
Yeah, y'all the bosses.
Okay. Legit.
But but you know, I just want to hear
she's
jazz faith bass. We're getting there. This record.
We're getting closer. We're getting closer. I think you may have just written the treatment for one of the, you know, the visuals. I feel like we, you know, we're going into the holiday season now, but y'all know, I told you before that I don't believe in promo week. I believe in promo year. And so many times people like, especially as an independent artist, but so many times artists may highlight one or two songs from the album. But, you know, I pride myself on presenting bodies of work with no album fillers. I did an interview with this brilliant mind, Miss Vicki, Mack, Lataillade, and she said, "Don't bring me album fillers. I think it's very disrespectful." That's what she said. I was like, yes, I love the way you said that.
You did say that.
But
I love that you said that.
Resonated me too. But that resonated with us so much because we felt that way from the first album I did. Like, I feel like every song should have some substance and some girth and something special about it. So with that being said, you know, even when we gonna get through the holiday season and at the top of the year, we gonna rev up for like phase two, and like maybe do a visual album and do a visual for every song. So we'll have to find a place to do the spotlight in the green gown.
So, and I'm gonna tell you something else about you that I feel.
Yes, ma'am.
Your voice is only going to get better with age.
Gosh, thank you.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, you know, you're
I
not
agree.
an old at this point, but at some point, and it just never. So, yeah.
Thank you.
And I wish, like, you are not alone, maybe even, or you guys need to get somebody that can work this, maybe even in the jazz and the markets and stuff, you know.
NPR.
NPR for sure, because it doesn't have that.
NPR.
You know, it's funny, NPR, the first place I heard her ever heard of her was on NPR.
Really? The Tiny Desk?
No.
Really?
No.
Musical.
They play music.
Her first,
and nobody. She was barely known, but there's a show on there. I haven't heard it in a while since I left Nashville, where they like to highlight new music and people you don't know. I don't know if that's fun. If anybody knows about that, let us know. But I can see on that. But yeah, I heard about her before she broke on NPR.
Wow. Okay.
Before we got to the blend of colors, I think it was like maybe it was blue on that one or red.
Well, girl, tell us more about. You just have this sense of fashion, girl.
Yes, please.
And
they've been talking about that hat. They've been talking about
and girl, that cover is everything. With your back turned.
Yes, I love it.
I said, now, I would okay a cover like that. I would okay a cover like that.
There you go,
Really?
Anita. That's a green light when Miss Vicki said that she would green light an album cover.
Yes.
That was
songs considered.
Songs considered. All songs considered.
Thank you, Eric. That's exactly it.
All songs considered. Eric,
Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you, Eric. Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
These people help us out. These
are
true fans, true people that know that. It's a great show.
That black and white cover is something.
Shout out JP.
Shout out to JP Designs Art. JP Moore. He is he's my guy. He has been just creating amazing art for me since about 2014, my second album. He didn't do that. He didn't do that album cover. Derek Blanks did the album cover, but JP did. Derek did the second album cover. But all of the art from that album, we played around with vinyls and jukeboxes and all of that. That's when me and JP just started just exploring. So of course we worked together on this album, and I like to, give JP. JP is one of the few people that's in the process with me and Rick well before the album is done. I send him demos. Give him concepts of the songs, because my question has always been, we know the first question is, what does this music look like? So, and I told him, I just explained in botchy pieces here or there, just hopefully some of it made sense to him, but I was just like, I feel very free on this album. I feel like I don't have anything to prove anymore. We have these previous albums. I've shown versatility with funky music, groovy music, worship music, praise music, all kinds of things. So now we just feeling the vibes that we feeling. It may be on radio, it may not. Yes. I got this little one hairstyle that I wear. I think I'm not going to be tortured. Your signature hair is just swoop to the side. Yeah. That whole thing.
Girl, I was going to pay homage and do that too, but right now this needs to be braided up.
I'm here for it. You did that. Thank you. With the
little piece to the side. I didn't know you needed to do that. We just made that happen.
Tommy, like, I could do that. We could do that. But I think I was really happy when I feel like we were inspired with that idea, Rick. Even before the photo shoot, we just knew we wanted to kind of do black. I wear black a lot. I love black, but we thought about the motorcycle. We thought about the leather jacket. We thought about the front view and the back view. I think our first thought was the front of the cover would be the front facing, And then the back where the credits and all that were would be the back. But man, when we got those proofs back from the photo shoot and JP pulled that one, and then he was able to put my front facing picture on the back of the jacket, and where it took on the texture of the leather, all of that. And when we saw it, I mean, he whipped it up really quickly. And when we saw it, we were like, this is it. This says Soul Sister. This says a more relaxed kind of edgy Anita. You know, it just kind of really fit the feel of the album. So shout out to JP Moore. Yes, indeed.
Nice.
You'll find out though
Thank you.
Years, that will be an iconic piece that you have in your repertoire.
I agree.
Wow.
One time we did this thing with Walter Hawkins where we didn't show his face, we just showed his hands with a white rose.
I think it's Magnolia.
Magnolia. And those kind of pieces are good to have in your repertoire.
That's Love Alive. That's Love Alive 25.
Yeah.
What's it?
Yeah. Love Alive.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you talking to somebody who knows.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I remember but I can remember that cover, and I remember you know, in his passing and all that, how they showed that a lot. And that iconic piece, you're at that point, I think, where you can do that. But yes, I think you're really getting into your own with your sound now. And, you know, I mean, the things you can do, especially in the faith-based world, a lot of people don't sound the way you sound. And you just kind of made a lane for yourself, and that's really, really important. Thank you. Have that lane that's all yours, you know. Did you always know you were going to be like that, having this voice that was kind of different for faith-based anyway? This jazz voice is what I know.
I don't think I knew. I don't think that I knew. I was leading worship and singing with Donald Lawrence basically the decade before I came out as a solo artist. So I knew that, especially with Donald, you know, he helped me to embrace the unique tone. I just knew I didn't have a really high voice, but I knew that I had an interesting tone, that while Donald has like 10 singers, my tone would flow through all those singers and make it rounded some kind of way. It was very interesting. There are times that he would master his music and I'm like, Donald, I'm a little too loud, right? He was like, no, that's the tone that we want. So that's when I started getting, you know, used to like the uniqueness of my tone. But I think when me and Rick began to do my first album, I was just singing. You know, I didn't know that I knew that it was unique music, but I didn't know, you know, you never really know what God is going to do. But I'm glad that I started as a solo artist in my 30s, like early 30s. So I was pretty aware of who I was. So I was just comfortable to not do an album. That was this Soul Sister is my new favorite, but definitely Worship Soul, my first baby, is my favorite because there was nothing in my head to live up to compare to try to fit into. I was just doing what we felt. That's what's so similar about Soul Sister. But with Worship Soul, that first one, you know, it was kind of unconventional to even make a song like Speechless, the first single. But I'm just grateful because none of that was in my head. I guess the labels that I was with, like, this girl don't know much about industry. I'm like, no, I don't want to fit into anything. I want to do this song. This is the song that
doesn't understand.
I remember we often tell the story that when Anita was with the label, the first album, they came to us with a list of CCM songs that were in the top 20 or 40 at the time on the Christian side of the label, and they asked us to pick one of the songs off of that list, or asked us to consider to pick a song off that list because, you know, they would have basically be able to have a song that already has an established record be done on the gospel side. But to me, that was not being authentic. So we just kind of never even.
I literally remember him sliding a paper to me with those songs, and I nicely slid it back. Yeah, I was like, I didn't even need to I was like, no.
But that's the thing about going to a label. You don't just go to a label. You go to a culture, and that's things people learn. And if they don't, for some artists, you need to help them shape who they are. I'll even tell you, and this sounds kind of crazy, but with Jay Moss, he was so brilliant and could sing anything. We kind of had to make him more simplistic. I mean, with the music he was writing, but because he can be so complicated. He's so vocally articulate that sometimes you can be a little too sophisticated for the room in some ways where they can't catch it.
Yeah.
But and so you have to move into it slowly. And I think even with you, that's what you've done. Now you're kind of set in your sound. And
thank you.
Now, this is an independent release, right?
Yes, it is completely independent.
All right. Yeah. So you're running your own label. So you got that whole piece. So who's doing all of the, if you want to say,
marketing, radio,
right, and all of the different functions, you know, taking care of royalties and
the royalties.
So who's actually doing the business side of this thing? I know
you know what?
The creative side.
Yeah, you know what? That would be me and the team that I continue to build. I'm actually rebuilding my team. I have changed legal representation. I've gone back to self-management within the last year. I've had a lot of major changes. So this is definitely on the job training for me. You know, I'm actually in the midst of securing someone new to do the royalty accounting and all of that. It's been an interesting road. I always say I'm an executive by default because I just knew when I was associated with labels that my interests were in more than just artist areas. You know, they would call me on the group call each week, and they would talk about the artist stuff, the promo performances and the photo shoot and all of that. And then they were like, okay, you can get off the phone. And I'm like, okay, well, what about the budget? And what about the streams? And what about this? And they're like, oh, you don't have to worry about that. You know, so I just knew that I was interested in more than they were trying to divulge, honestly. So I've been learning all of these years, and I actually had to deprogram, if I've used that correctly, with a lot of bad information that I got early in my career. So yeah, I have, to answer your question, I have a small team that I'm continuing to learn with, that's handling the business side, the legal side. You know, we were talking yesterday about uploading. I got some of my soldiers mad at me now because the album isn't on all the stores yet, but you know, that's just me ticking through a lot of those technical spaces that I'm not, me and Shami were just talking, you know, that I'm not totally abreast of. But I decided, I made a conscious decision to stop paying out all of my money, and to figure out what it, like, start from a bit of ground zero vibes to figure out what am I able to do. My time is my own. I'm at home, let alone now I'm really at home, but my schedule is mine. What can I do myself? You know, what can I go on YouTube or wherever and figure out how to do myself? Okay. And then when I get to those ceilings where I can't do this, like this is beyond me, I can't do this, I'm not a numbers girl, this gets real twisted up. Let me put someone in this place. Let me put someone in that place. I don't want nobody coming looking for me for their money and all of that. So I'm definitely filling all the necessary positions that I'm not able to do, but I had to pause myself so I would make sure I had the right people around me and make sure that I wasn't paying out money that I didn't have to, because for years I just spent my wheels by making money from an album and spending it right back out to pay for another album, and then making the money and then spending it right back out. But radio reps and just all of that stuff, you will end up broke, child. Just because this is literally independent. This is
no idea the money that we were spending on the label, and they're saying, you know, and it's like, and
no.
and more than the regular labels.
Yeah.
It's a lot more, and they didn't get it. But there's a guy named David Israelite from NMPA, is it? NMPA that you should,
for the publishing piece.
For the publishing side, he just had a
town hall. They call it town, but it was in Nashville. Well, it was a Zoom call.
It was a Zoom call that any artist could get on. I don't. It was yesterday, I think, or day before yesterday.
The songwriters, primarily for songwriters, because they're a publishing association.
Right.
Okay.
But that's just kind of. I assume you have your own publishing company, right?
Yes, sir.
But you structured. You know, you have several companies besides just a label, a publishing company, and then we had our own booking company.
Really?
Right. When we started up, we used to book our stuff together till we got to a place where then we said, okay, we started handing off stuff off.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I do my own booking as well. I have a booking assistant, and yeah, I deal with it all. So I wear quite a bit of hats,
but most people don't, and I wouldn't recommend it for a lot of people. Quite frankly,
it's not for everybody.
No, I wouldn't.
It's not for everybody.
There's Ernest Pugh. Yeah, it's not for everybody.
Ernest.
What's up, Ernest?
Difficult, but yeah, David Israelite is someone that anyone who is a songwriter should check into. He'll keep you up with the latest laws, the latest everything that's happening within the publishing world on a very advanced level.
David
Israelite. I'm right.
The blessing. I'm gonna tell you the blessing is that.
Rick?
Oh no, I was just saying the blessing is for the past 4 albums. I'm grateful that 98% of the music is in house that me and Anita have written on the last 4 albums.
Right.
Yeah.
So that makes it easier as an independent label to have to sort out the songwriting.
But he makes sure you can retrieve it and at what rates, and he'll tell you when the rates are going to change and what he goes to Congress a lot and all of that.
That's good. That's good. But I just wanted to I was just going to take a moment to salute Anita because I get the front row seat to her journey since day one.
Poor guy.
And when she first, I
said, poor guy, you get it all. You do get it all.
I mean, she started off, a little green as far as the business side of music, but to watch her develop into the executive that she is, I believe that Anita at this state, she's been trying to, and a lot of stuff she didn't want to have to deal with, or a lot of stuff she didn't want to have to go through, some of the hardships that she had to. Some of them were very painful lessons, but honestly, when I look back, I've always looked at it from a glass half full perspective, because I knew that what she was dealing with as far as some of the hard knock life of being a record executive, I knew that she was getting good training ground. We have what we call like our board of directors. We have people that we reach out for info and help us and that inspire us, kind of like y'all and Donald and a few other people. Shout out to Stephanie and a few other people that we're good friends with that we have access to for the information. But for the most part, I've been able to see Anita hone her craft, not only as an artist, but as a producer and as a writer, and then as well as an executive, because yes, he has a full, and I'm very grateful. And I believe a lot more. I agree with you, Miss Vicki, that life ain't for everybody, but I do believe that it's a possibility to have an independent label. And one of my main things is managing your mindset, because success is relative. Success could be, a lot of people look at success as selling out the Staples Center, or a lot of people look at success as platinum records, or they look at success as a number one song. But again, in the case of like somebody like my wife, who had a successful city winery run once, and she's doing it again now in different cities, and that venue sits about 350 people, but that's successful if you can have 350 people who came out to specifically buy a ticket for your show. And not only did they buy the ticket for your show, they came and they had the merch, and they support and show love. So shout out to Reflection Media, your imprint, and I just continue to, I'm just gonna be sitting back watching you grow some more.
Yeah, so let me just see, Vicki was more of the A&R. She was the executive. A&R, more the music. I'm more on the business side. I only thing I knew about music was how to turn it on.
Turn it on, that's it.
Sing. You do not want to hear them sing.
Yeah, but I saw your name on all those gospel-centric albums, though. I saw your name there.
That's what you got to do.
I saw executive producer.
My point is, that's on the business side. But if there's anything you guys need, and, see, I did all the strategic kind of structuring and producing and stuff like that, and she did all the other, her strategic thing was, take an artist, how to take this artist. And my strategic thing was, how do we structure this company to go someplace?
Mm-hmm.
So we have different approaches, but work together, and we
I love that.
right. And so as a husband and wife, you know, it's good to kind of bring those different pieces together because everybody's playing a role and contributing in their way to make this thing happen. But if you have any, you know, words and any,
how was that for you?
Okay. So we go through that thing. But I'm saying if you need any, you know, reach out and want to ask some questions.
Yes, sir.
I want everybody heard him say it too.
I'm
not gonna let you forget that you said it.
I'll be having questions.
I'll be having questions too.
Yeah.
So I don't read my DMs, so you got my text.
Yes,
I'm gonna definitely reach out. I'm finishing a book. I could ask you some questions about my book I'm writing, so I'm gonna call it.
Yeah, definitely want to do everything correctly on the business side. I definitely don't want to be one of those people that claim to have a label and be independent, but you got raggedy business cracking. That's not what I want to do. So I do want to continually get better. So like Rick said, y'all heard him.
Driving.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, Fred Jerkins is in the building.
Hey,
shout out to the legendary Fred Jerkins. And Bill Powell, shout out to Bill Powell as well.
But you
hello.
Bill Powell.
Okay. But you were getting ready.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask a question, a big question about husband and wives working together.
Yes,
I'm just gonna put a smile on my face.
It's my love right here.
I'm gonna be very real. I don't know. Even for y'all.
Let's be real.
It was wonderful, but it was difficult at times for Claude and I. How about you?
Well.
Yes, ditto.
Yes.
Ditto. It is definitely.
I'm just gonna smile.
Well, they're really in the same area, producing and directing and doing that whole piece.
Yeah,
but I think
together.
It's not always easy.
That's what I had a question about because of the creative process. My question was what was it like creating in the middle of a pandemic? And
your husband and wife and you're living together.
Yeah.
Singing together.
And also, how did you guys stay? Because I thought it was interesting that Rick had this idea, and right now, like Mike Todd's talking about the difference of like having the imagination, you know, writing the vision down. You really manifested what you heard God say, and it's something that we're all worshiping to right now.
Yeah.
But how did you do all that? And you're around each other all the time.
It's not easy all the time. I mean, it's not the easiest. It's not the easiest thing. Because
go ahead, sweetie.
Well, I was just gonna say that we're both passionate about the music, and you know, Aaron Lindsay called it the term laboring over the lyrics, but you know, it's a matter of. I'll say this: I know my role as a husband. I know my role for the most part as Anita Wilson, the artist. My role as her, I have to look at it from a professional standpoint. I have to look at it from a natural standpoint.
Right.
From a professional standpoint, I am her producer and co-collaborator, and we create this music together. When I look at it from the husband standpoint, I'm the support system. So for the most part, I feel like when I finish the album, my job is done for the most part. I mean, I travel with Anita and I'm out there making sure she's taken care of. But for the most part, I feel like when the album is turned in, my job turns into being a support system as opposed to being a creative partner. Because she's the one that has to go out and perform this music. She's the one that has invested into her company, and she's the one that has to be she has to be the artist. She has to be Anita Wilson. So I know my role. We bump heads on the album side because my role is still on that part, co-collaborator and co-creator. So we sometimes fight for our ideas. I'll characterize it as that.
Y'all see this big Kool-Aid smile because Rick is giving such a nice answer. So
Because I ain't getting set up. You ain't gonna set me up.
I'm about to answer for real. It can, you know, we work really, really well together. I always say he's the gift to my gift, and he completes my ideas. He brings out the best in me when we're working on music and stuff. But Rick can be Rick is a more experienced songwriter than I am, so it's easier for him kind of on the spot to come up with melodies and come up with lyrics. It takes me a little longer, so once I do come up, I sit with them for weeks and I work on them to myself, right? So then we'll be like, okay, we're working on Making Waves tonight. So when I put my little ideas out there, sometimes he'll let me sit with him for a while, but then he'll be like, what was the first line? And I'd be like, da, 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 da. He was like, let's say this instead of that. And I'm like, okay. What was the second line? And then, okay, well, let's say this. I say, now, Rick, you ain't finna do that thing where you think you make me think that you're cool with these lyrics, but then you change this and change that, and you look up and a whole doggone verse is different. So we bump those heads, and if something he likes that I don't like or whatever, I'm like, I play along for a minute, but every blue moon I have to be like, now listen, this is my name, this is my face on this album or my back, or this is, this invoice is coming to me, and I got to be, so there are times
this invoice coming to me, and I'm the HNIC.
We go through that. We go through that too, and that's what I'm trying to get out of this for people to see. Everybody wants. I want to be a power couple like you guys work together. Think 2, 3, 4, 5 times before you want to do that, especially when it's the woman who's out front. It can be a very, very tricky thing. And if you're not ready for all of that.
As a man.
If you're married to a real man who's gonna be an alpha at times, it can be very tricky. And then sometimes for me, I'm out there and I'm running things and blah, 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 and then somebody goes and hurts my feelings behind the scene. I want to go cry on his shoulder and be all girly then. And sometimes it's like, wait, I'm like, no, I just need you to be here. And he's like,
I understand. I understand.
Go there and kick some butt.
Yeah, I understand.
You've been snapping on people all day, and now you want to be sensitive. Now you want
to. That's the truth. Every once in a while, my wife.
What are you saying?
No, I was just gonna say every once in a while my wife surprises me because I do have a tough cookie for a wife, and I love that about her. But there's times when I'll be so busy expecting her to be Anita, the tough, strong-willed person. So sometimes when she do have those moments where she let that down, let it go, I'll be like, oh, okay, I switch my hat.
He barely knows what to do with it. Yeah, he's like.
Well, it's just certain moments. I do good for the majority of the time. It's just certain moments.
But I'm like, just because it's what is the meme? I'm totally that meme that just because I carry it well doesn't mean that it's not heavy, So I'm in that mode and I handle what I have to handle because 9 times out of 10, Vicki, if I don't do it, it won't get done in a lot of those tasks or whatever. So I do it because I have to, but there are times that I just I'm depleted and whatnot. And as a woman, it has been interesting along the way too. Because I can remember on my second album, Rick loves to tell this story, but on my second album, when I was learning more about being a producer, it was before I even called myself a producer, but I noticed that I was editing songs and I was saying at 1 minute and 13 seconds,
Did she freeze?
She froze on us again. So tell the story.
Well, if this was the story that I think. Oh, there you go.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you back on.
I'm back. Yeah, so it was times where I could tell that I was asking the engineer to turn this or that up, and I don't think that I could tell that he wasn't used to the artist doing that. He was used to just the producer speaking for the artist, and I just never do well in those scenarios. And I'm like, no, I'm hearing this, turn this up. And he would just tap the knob. Do you hear a difference? And I'm like, did you turn it up or not? Don't play with me. Like, I'll be having to walk hard when I don't want to. I'm like, because when you get done with this session, who you sending that invoice to, sir? Huh? So don't do that. So I just learned, but they frustrated me. Listen, they frustrated me so much in that session, and I was like, you don't hear that? He was like, I don't hear that. Rick was like, I was like, Rick, do you hear it? And he was like, I don't hear it either. I was like, you know what? I'm out. God bless y'all.
You were like,
yeah, but what the part she not telling y'all is that she left me at the studio when the polar vortex was in Chicago, it was 40 below zero. And I walked out the studio, and I think this was pre-Uber times.
He was like, but I rode with you to the studio. How am I supposed to get home? I was like, figure it out. Listen, y'all not going to be disrespecting
but,
me. Right.
I was just going to add, like Rick was saying, is, being a support, a support role, that's primarily my role in our whole thing at Gospel Centric and Be Right was a support role. And so
you look pretty, Miss Vicki.
Pardon me?
No, I'm listening.
Oh, Jesus. Thank you.
Yeah. So I agree. So that was primarily my role. So and you, like I said, you do role reversals and things like that when you go home. But when we were taking care of business, it was, my thing was, how do I make this happen?
Yeah.
What she wants to do, how do I support this effort? And
you all been married how long?
40 years. We'll be 41 this year.
Amazing. I know that's right. Clap it up.
I gotta clap it up to that, because 41 years is one thing, but 41 years at the same time of being in the music industry is a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother thing.
You know what I just thought about, Rick? Hey, Tammy.
Tell the truth on Dion.
Oh, they don't know.
They don't know.
I know she doesn't know.
Tammy hadn't said something funny about Dion Kipping. You can find it on Instagram.
Okay.
What's up, Tammy Haddon?
But we're almost out of time, so I just want to encourage everybody again that we have been talking to Miss Anita Wilson and Rick Robinson, her incredible producer, writer, and get this record. Like I said, I've got 3 in particular. I like that. I like the first one because I think we heard that when we interviewed. What's that first cut on there? No, the first cut on the
first song on the album is A Real Love.
Yeah, A Real Love. So I like that. But the that B Slade song,
Making Waves. Sequence is everything. Everything.
I know that. Y'all sequenced that right. You got us warmed up nicely, and then just went for the jugular, and that is correct. That's the way.
Bow down, Anita. Bow down. This is one of the queens of the sequence. Bow down.
I went back to 1, 2, and then 4. I think it is, because which one has Faith on it?
4.
Number 4.
Right after the.
And I'm good. I'll get to the rest of it later. Again, I have gone all the way through it, and I love it. But I have to keep going back to 1, 2, and 4. And I said, see, this is how you sequence too.
That makes me smile.
Troy Clark used to tell me about me and that sequencing.
Troy.
I've heard many stories about you as far as sequencing the album and roll out on the album.
You don't know how much of a compliment.
Because
it matters, right?
It matters.
I'm not going to go all the way through a CD all the time. I'm really not. I'm going to get my songs that are my songs.
Yeah.
And my songs are 1, but that number 2 would be Slade, and that You Are Not Alone with and I'm glad. And then I'm going to go back again to 1 and 2.
That's those your songs, huh?
I love it.
Tell us about a few of the other songs that I should check out, though.
I was just about to say my favorite song from this album is track 3. So you gotta get into track 3.
That way you go 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
And then repeat. Right?
And then back to 1.
Right. But yeah, it's a beautiful song.
What's number 3?
It has to be you. It has to be you. Rick and I wrote this song. It has such a good feel. Don't let the beautiful string intro fool you. It definitely goes to like a real New York-esque 90s bad
street
boy
ballad.
Era type street ballad. It's really, really cool. Yeah. And I love Out Here Trusting God. That's the one with Ruby Green on it. So check those 2 out. So yeah, I'll mention those. Rick, what would you say? I was intentional about making this album a short album. This is my shortest album that I've done. It's very personal. It has, you know, Real Love is about insecurities. Last Time is when you're in your feelings about missing someone that has gone on. Still Alive is, you know, gratitude about still being here. So thank you for the sequence, love. Thank you for the sequence.
My song one of my favorite songs in the album, and I listened to it today, was is number 6, Honor You.
Yeah.
No Greater Love, which are songs that I wrote quite a while ago. But Anita honored me by singing these songs. I often say that songs are just words on paper till you get them to the right voice. And and even though these songs were written years ago, they found their way to her voice and on this album. So I'm just really, when I listen to it, I get little goosebumps because from a songwriter's point of view, when you finally get to hear somebody convey your song the way that God gave it to you, it's an organic, magical moment. So I'm grateful. So I was, you know, outside of listening to suggesting the whole album, I would suggest number 3 and number 6.
Number 3 and number 6. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, number 3 and number 6.
I've got the project already. Do you guys have, what are your favorite songs for those of you who have it? They're gonna, in the comment file. Let us know in the comment file. We can go out and find it everywhere now, you'd say, or?
We got it.
Yes. Yep, it's on iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube for sure. And it'll be a second release that will go to the rest of the stores, to the Tidal, the Amazon, and the Pandora. So it'll be like a second release date. So thank you guys for your patience. But yes, it is now on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, iTunes for sure.
Oh, that's cool. Somebody said they like from 1 to 10 for real.
Thank you. That's my song. Thank you. Thank you.
And then the cool thing is we get to go out and perform this stuff live now, because we've been I mean, we stayed in for the most part, but you know, since Anita has shows coming up that we're doing.
Well, so when does that start? When are you gonna be in LA?
We actually we're going to be at a church this Sunday in LA. It's called the Regenerated Church. I'm not sure of the address. I'm going to put the flyer up. But we're going to be in LA for like a day and a half this weekend. We were in Sacramento this past weekend at Center of Praise. We'll be back in California at Yoshi's in Oakland on November 24th. Yeah.
That's a jazz place.
See, my mom,
yes, it is.
Her whole
oh, you know, because I'm from the Bay Area. Yoshi's, I tell my mother.
Yoshi's is like a second home in Oakland. You've done that about 3 times now.
Yeah, this will be my 4th concert at Yoshi's. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay, we're gonna drive up.
We're not driving up.
He said, "No, we not."
That's our anniversary. We got something committed.
That's Thanksgiving Eve too. That's Thanksgiving Eve.
Come on your anniversary, girl.
Come on, I love it. He said, "No, we're not gonna be driving up there."
He said no. He said we gonna be celebrating our anniversary.
I know that's right, lady.
I love it. I love it.
That's hilarious.
I'm just being real, man.
No, I appreciate you. That's good. Listen, we appreciate the real now.
We are moving around. We gonna find our time. That was good to me. We're gonna find our time though. Yeah, for sure. When we get back to
City Winery in DC.
Yes, City Winery DC is November 4th.
Okay.
Yep, get you guys tickets. Yep, November 4th, and then City Winery Philadelphia is December 16th, and City Winery Atlanta is February 6th. That hasn't been announced yet, but it's February 6th.
Okay.
So we're moving around a little bit. Yes, Pastor Tate, we're in LA. Okay, all right, we got to talk offline. See if we can make it there. Yes.
For sure. Well, we've loved having you. You know, come anytime.
Yes.
You guys, you know, Anita is a personal favorite of mine.
Thank you.
So I want you guys to all go out and support them, and not only as great artists and producer, director, writer, but also as business people, Black owners of a business. Support these beautiful people, and please go right after this show and go to YouTube or wherever you go and get the CD.
YouTube,
I mean, not YouTube.
It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube to listen on YouTube.
But iTunes too. And write me back, you guys, and tell me what song you like. If you like the songs I like. Okay.
Miss Vicki, do you age at all? Do you age at all?
Right? She posted a throwback of her and her mom. And I'm like,
Yes.
But you look like this today, lady. Yes, okay. You look like you play that.
I'm starting to put on moisturizer and do things now because it's not. But
I am too.
Okay.
I'm getting up there. But like you said, we were at concerts in the 70s.
That's a beautiful thing. And I just shout out to the Lataillades because I just love y'all's vibes. I love y'all are goals with the reels and the videos that you do. I say y'all better live your best life out here just dancing in the middle of the day and just in the sun and flirting.
I told Anita, I said when I get older, when I get older, you better still love me like Miss Vicki loved Mr. Clark.
I know that's right. I said I'm gonna love you like Vicki loves Clark.
I told her I want to still dance like that when I get older.
Yeah, we get ready to rock a new one. We got
ready to rock a new one today. But you know, one of the ones we have, I said this before, we got over 1 million views on one of those things.
Really?
Because people trying to figure out how to live like that.
People just want us to dance. It's crazy, but we do love it. Over 1 million views on it.
That's everything. I love it.
Before the pandemic, they used to shut down restaurants and just dance.
Really?
Yeah.
I told Anita, I said you can see the piece. I said you could tell that they have done their work and have afforded a life for themselves. They got the peace of God on them. They just dance.
Yes.
GMWA conference. They went up
we went to GMWA and the music was right and we salsa dance
in the front row.
Come on. That's a good life.
That's what I'm talking about. Just good vibes.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
Yes.
It's close. Come on.
Yes.
Yeah.
People can get upset about it with it.
Yeah. We free.
That's good.
Now we gotta get some type of moment sometime soon out there, dinner or a Lakers game, one of the two, something like that.
I don't even want to talk about the Lakers.
The Bulls and Lakers are in town or something.
Oh yeah, that's all it is for me this season, Mr. C. Is Bulls and Lakers.
Okay.
Well, the Lakers better watch out for my Bay Area. Messed them up yesterday.
Yeah. Slow start.
Through.
Yeah, I was a little disturbed by that too. I have a hard time staying up for some of the West Coast games because they come on at 9:30 at night here. So I woke up and saw that they lost. I said, Lord.
Oh, I know.
Slow start. They'll get it.
We got some new pieces. We still got to gel a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's all right. It's
it's all good.
Gets together.
Now the good news was LeBron did his thing. You couldn't tell that was his 19th season, and it was good to see Melo up there.
Yeah, Melo. So
when you have that many greats, you should be pouncing on everybody.
Well, it's only one game, Miss Vicki. It was the opening game. He's like, get him out of here.
I said, Vicki, they are 50 years old though.
Oh no, not 50.
Sports. Anita, do you like sports?
I by default, I like watching the basketball games with Rick, so I can enjoy those. I do not enjoy football at all. But I do enjoy
Pray for me. Pray for me.
I do enjoy basketball.
Yeah.
It gets lonely sometimes when the football games.
I'll be like, whatever.
In the man cave. It's lonely sometimes.
Yeah, that's the man cave situation with football. But basketball, she's with me.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
And we just and congratulations to the Chicago Sky. We just won the WNBA championship in Chicago.
Yep, absolutely. Go, ladies.
Yes.
We just love y'all. We just love y'all.
But I'm grateful. I'm grateful for y'all.
Thank you so much.
For this relationship that we have.
Thank you so much.
We really are. We really are. We're so grateful.
Right in my DM, and I just said, "This is a nice young lady," and
it's a God connection.
Thank you.
Because now
I was like, she responded.
I can't imagine you guys not being here before the pandemic. It's weird,
I know.
Yeah.
Now, I met your mom. I met your mom a long time ago. In Chicago, and I told the story all the time that I had heard about you before I met you. So everybody was talking about the boss lady, Miss Vicki Lataillade. And I was looking, so I knew that I had to meet with you about something. I think we was talking about paperwork for New Direction or something like that.
New Direction.
And I'm walking around looking for the boss lady, and I'm like, where's this lady at? They tell me I need to be all nervous for her. You standing right under me. You were standing right under me about this.
It was like, oh, this.
I said, this little lady is the one that got everybody scared of.
You know, one time, I'm going to tell this story and then we're going to go.
Okay.
Right here, I was outside somewhere and there were all these guys. They were all tall, black men in a circle. And they were talking about Vicki Mack. Wow. Oh, gee, but I know her and blah, blah, blah. And I'm standing like at one of their waists, kind of like looking through. And I thought I had entered the Twilight Zone and just thought I was Vicki Mack, but I really wasn't Vicki Mack, or I was walking around the spirit or something, because I'm right there. And so finally I went like this to one of them, and he's like, yeah, woman. I said, no. He says, yeah. I said, hi, I'm Vicki Mack. He went, oh no. They all started running.
Oh my God.
Your reputation had preceded you.
They didn't know who I was. But I'm serious. They never met me before, but they were just talking. And I thought I had entered the Twilight Zone.
It's lonely at the top, Miss Vicki. When you're at the top, it's lonely there sometimes.
This is true.
Because I know when people see how short I am short, you guys.
No, especially for somebody who's 6'6", who's 6 feet 6.
I'm almost 5 feet.
Almost 5 feet, and I'm 6 feet 6. So I'm looking for you, and they say that's her right there.
That's what you
Yeah, he's 6'6".
Literally,
you were. Oh my God.
That was the funny thing about it, because I had never
funny.
met her before, so I never seen her. So I'm looking for this lady, and I'm like, they said this lady is the one who's in charge. She handle business. You better get it right when you meet her. And I met you. I'm looking around here. Came up to me.
That is too funny. Hey, Jerome Bell. Hey, sir.
Yeah. So, but you're a legend, though. You're a legend, though.
Yes, she is.
Praise God. Thank you. I have to learn how to receive these things back.
Yeah.
We standing on your shoulders. So listen, I will always honor you for your place that you have.
Thank you guys are doing a great job. Well, we got to let everybody go. Thank you guys so much.
Thank y'all so much for having us.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. It's all love.
Get the album.
And we'll
Soul
see you.
Sister.
I appreciate you, Mr. Lataillade.
Okay, man.
Bye.
Bye,
Bless our verse on me.
I love y'all. Bye.
Hello.
What's
Thank
up?
you so much for watching Carfitable
Yes,
Talks.
thank you.
Please remember to press that like button, and we need you to subscribe. And also,
Leave some comments. We really need to hear from you.
thank you.